Chef Buck here, and today we're going to cook up a super easy asparagus recipe. I've got a few asparagus recipes over on my website, and I'll have a link down below if you want to check those out. There's a curry asparagus, a lemon ginger asparagus, all super duper delicious. But this is going to be the bare bones, almost. Now when you buy asparagus, you want to make sure and get the thinnest asparagus you can. Like this here is just on the edge of what I'd consider thin. Much bigger than this and I wouldn't buy it. You know, and the thinner the better. And when you buy it, make sure it doesn't have any wrinkles along the skins, because sometimes when you check out asparagus, you'll see at the bottom, you know, it starts to look like my hands. You know, it gets that kind of grandma look, you know, all wrinkly, and that means it's dried out. That means it doesn't have enough moisture in it. So it's getting kind of old. And check out the ends, the tips. This is the tastiest part of the asparagus, but sometimes when you see it in the grocers, it'll look very dark on the end, sometimes almost black. And that means it's wet. And that could be that it's stored improperly, or it could be that it's just getting old. Get nice, hearty asparagus that isn't wrinkly, isn't dark on the tips, and thin. Those are the main things you want to look for. You know, if it's all those things, then it's going to be firm. Now to prep our asparagus for cooking, what we want to do is we want to take our asparagus and kind of grab it the last third and maybe give it a bend. And just snap it off. And wherever it snaps off, that's going to be the ideal piece of asparagus. You know, this is the woodier part of the asparagus. So we'll set that aside and we'll just do that with all our pieces of asparagus. And that's just the easiest way to find the tenderest piece of asparagus. Now for a lot of asparagus recipes, you know, I like to chop the asparagus up into 1/2 inch or 1 inch pieces. But for this dish, we're going to keep the stalks whole. Boom, now we've got our asparagus spear stalks all ready for cooking. Now the end pieces right here, you can save these. Over the course of several years, you'll be able to use these to build a house. Like a tiny house, I guess the tiny house movement, you know, you won't be able to build a big house with asparagus unless you're like asparagus crazy. But the average person, you know, within 5 or 6 years, you'll be able to build a tiny house. On average. So now we're going to go ahead and heat up our skillet. We're going to have it on kind of high heat, medium high. Go ahead and lightly oil it. And we're basically just going to sear our asparagus. This recipe doesn't take very long because asparagus you can eat raw. You don't have to cook it. If you want to chop it up a little bit and put it in salads or something like that, you can definitely do that. But it doesn't take a lot of cooking. Since I'm hungry, just enjoying this asparagus. Alrighty, our skillet is nice and hot, so we'll go ahead and spread out our asparagus spears in here. Boom, boom, boom. We'll give them a few minutes to sear on the bottom there. Alright, so it's been going for a couple of minutes. We're going to go ahead and give the asparagus a stir and turn them over. And basically, we're just going to cook it on this kind of medium-high heat so we get a nice little bit of color on our asparagus. So just spread them out and try to get the stalks in contact with the pan as much as you can. And I'm not going to do much seasoning with asparagus, just some simple salt and pepper. But you can definitely season it any way you wish. And since you can eat asparagus raw, you know, these are ready whenever you like. You definitely don't want to overcook them. What we're trying to do is get a nice little bit of color on them. You know, some seared edges. It's a nice little bit of flavor. And I think that's about it. You know, I've had it searing in the skillet for about 5 minutes. So we got some nice little seared edges on here. Now this asparagus is all ready. Just some simple salt and pepper and a sear in the skillet. And you've got a nice little side of asparagus for any entree, any meal you want to serve. You know, asparagus goes with so many dishes. Now if you want to make it a little more fancy pants, you can go ahead and saute a little bit of onion and garlic to go on there. And just doing this extra little step here will jazz up your asparagus. But really all you need is this here. My mom just likes plain Jane asparagus. But you don't want to overcook it. You will still have a nice little crunch with it, even with these skinny pieces. Nobody likes soggy asparagus. You pick up that crunch, camera girl? I'm standing too close to that sizzling skillet, huh? This is chewing 101. Add a little more salt and pepper to your onions if you like. And after your onions have had a couple of minutes head start, throw your garlic in here and finish this off within a minute. This is one of my favorite asparagus dishes to cook over in my mom's house because it's very simple, not covering up that simple asparagus, which is a super flavor. I will go ahead and toss our asparagus with our little onion and garlic mixture. Alrighty, boom, there you have it. Super duper easy peasy lemon squeezy. Really, you only need 3 ingredients to make asparagus. Asparagus, salt, and pepper. That's it. You know, sear it in a skillet, doesn't take any time at all. Jazz it up with a little bit of onion and garlic if you like. Great side dish, very healthy, super duper healthy. Look at that, that's no accident. That just didn't happen. That's asparagus. And this one over here is donuts. You know, it's all about the yin and yang. So that's it. You know, I have some links down below to a couple other asparagus dishes if you want to try those out. And print this recipe over at myfoodchannel.com with all of our other recipes. Link down below. You know, thanks for watching and subscribing, checking out all our videos. We really appreciate it. We'll see you in the future.